Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing this green and yellow eyeshadow look, so if you want to see how I got this look, then please keep on watching. So jumping right in, we've already primed our lids and done our eyebrows, so we're just going to be jumping right into the eyes. I'm first going to be using the shade Jada from the Jaclyn Hill palette, and I'm taking this on a flat e.l.f. brush, and we're just going to first pack this onto the lid, mainly in the crease, and then we're going to go right in with a clean blending brush and then just blend all of that out. Oh, and if my brushes look a little bent, when I was cleaning them, they dried that way, so just ignore that, please. I then dip into the shade Creamsicle, and I'm taking that to further blend out the edges of this blue. I want to have like a green fading into a yellow. Just to intensify that yellow shade, I'm actually taking the yellow from my Morphe 35V palette and going right over that. Just go back in with a little bit more of Creamsicle and keep blending. And I'm going to go back in with Jada to intensify that blue shade again. Here you can see that I added a brown shade, but I actually didn't like how it was looking. It was starting to get muddy, so I'm just going to be covering that up with my Master Concealer in the shade Light Medium, and we're going to be using that to cut our crease. Going right over the concealer, I'm using the shade Queen to pack all over the lid. This is a beautiful gold shade. And then for the outer corner, I'm going to be using the shade Enchanted in this Real Techniques blending brush. And we're going to just pack that on the outer corner. I wanted this shade to be very intense, so I am going to be dragging it a little further towards the center of the lid. But you really want to concentrate this on the outer corner and just really pack it on. Here I'm just taking a clean blending brush and using that to diffuse those edges. And just taking a little bit more of Enchanted, I'm dragging it right above where we cut our crease because I wanted it to be a little more intense. And then we're going to go right back in with the blending brush we used with Jada just to blend out that green. After you intensify that green eyeshadow, you want to go back in with Queen and intensify the gold shade so it doesn't get lost. Now I wanted to add a little bit more of a brighter gold, so in the inner corner I'm using my Ben Nye Lumiere powder, and this is just a really beautiful gold shade. First I applied my Nyx Glitter Glue and then just packed that right on top. And it's super bright, it's super pretty. If you can get your hands on it, I would definitely recommend it because I use it in like a bunch of my videos. Finally, we're just going to be adding some eyeliner. I'm using my Wet n Wild MegaLiner in the shade Black. I'm just doing a basic wing. If you have trouble with doing wing eyeliner, it's totally okay because I'm not perfect at it either. I've been doing it for years and it's still hard sometimes. As you can see, I messed up here, but that's no problem because we can easily just take a Q-tip and clean up the edge and we'll be good. After I cleaned up my eyeliner, I kind of messed up the edge a little bit, so I'm just taking some more eyeliner and just sharpening up that line, and then we can add some mascara to prep for lashes. I don't really remember what lashes these are. I know they're the Eyeliner lashes, I just don't know the name of them, but as always, all the products I use will be down in the bottom bar. I'm going to be using the Master Chrome highlighter in the shade Molten Gold, and I'm using that to highlight my brow bone and the inner corner of my eye. I'm just using a really small Real Techniques brush because I didn't want it to overpower my eyeshadow. Then I always like to go in with a blending brush and blend out that highlight because it can sometimes kind of get too harsh. Then I'm just going to touch up the tail of my brow because sometimes, I don't know, when I'm highlighting or whatever, the tail would just kind of disappear. So just want to fix that up. Once you have both eyes completed and lashes on, we can go ahead and move on to the face. We're first going to prime our skin, and I'm using the Milani Prime Perfection Face Primer. Next, to cover up my blemishes, I'm going to be using the Maybelline Master Camo Pen in the red shade. And with a small beauty sponge, you just want to kind of blend that out a little bit before you apply foundation. For foundation, I'm going to be using a mix of my Maybelline Fit Me foundation and the Clinique Beyond Perfecting foundation. I'm using the shade 210 in the Fit Me, and then in the shade Linen, I believe, with the Clinique foundation. I think mixing these two just kind of worked better as a shade for my skin tone at the moment. For some reason, I'm a little more pale, even though I know it's summer. I haven't really been out. So the Fit Me foundation is just a little too dark, and mixing it with the Beyond Perfecting foundation made it perfect. And of course, I'm just using a Real Techniques beauty sponge to blend everything out. I'm going to be using the Maybelline Master Concealer to highlight my face. I just wish that it had a wand like the Fit Me one, so I'm just going to be using that instead to apply the concealer. I just squeeze it onto it and it works perfectly fine. And just placing this on all the points that I want to highlight my face. Once you have everything blended out, it's time to set everything, and I'm using the Maybelline Fit Me Loose Finishing Powder in the shade 10 and 20. I use the shade 10 for under my eyes, or like everywhere I put the concealer, because it is a little bit brighter, and then I use the shade 20 for all the areas on the outside of my face, so like, you know, around my forehead, my cheeks, and my chin. This powder is actually really beautiful. If you haven't tried it yet, I don't know where you've been at, because it makes your skin just look flawless. Let's just ignore those like blue eyeshadow swatches on my hand. I just didn't know where I was going with this look, but ignore that. We're gonna go ahead and move on to bronzer. I'm using the Wet n Wild contouring palette in the shade Caramel Toffee. I actually haven't used this in a while, and I went back to it and realized that I still love it. So if you haven't tried it, try it out. You can pick it up at any drugstore. It's actually a really good bronzer for being a drugstore product. I've also switched to this like more small, denser brush compared to like a really large, like fluffy brush. I don't know, it just lets me have a little bit more control over where I'm putting my contour. And sometimes I feel like if I use a really big brush, it drops like underneath my contour line and like starts to look muddy and messy. But moving on to blush, I'm using the Milani blush in the shade Blossom Rose. I actually really love this blush because you can kind of be heavy-handed with it and it won't be super intense. I'm just going to set everything with a little bit of Fix Plus. Then I'm going to take the Milani Brow Tint Pen, and I'm going to use this to help further disguise my blemishes. I love using this pen because it really makes it look natural, and no one would ever guess that you have a pimple there unless they're like staring. A tip for when you're doing this though, I think it's important to add a little bit more like on different parts of your face just so that it looks even and you don't just have like 3 random in the same spot, you know? We're going to be jumping right back to the eyes, and I want the bottom lash line to kind of mimic the top, so we're going to be doing the same steps with the shade Jada and just smoke out that bottom lash line. Then taking a little bit of Enchanted, we're going to go right over Jada. This brush was a little bit too bulky for me, so I am going to be going back with that skinny red blending brush and using that same shadow Enchanted to blend out the lash line. Using Creamsicle again, we're just going to use that to blend everything out. Again, using my Master Chrome highlighter to highlight my inner corner. And then we're just going to go in with some black eyeliner and run that through our lash line. Of course, it's your preference whether you want to leave the lower lash line with eyeshadow or not. It looks great either way. But we're going to move on to lips, and I'm using the NYX lip liner in the shade Need Me to first outline and blend them in. And then I'm going to go right over that with Anastasia Beverly Hills Liquid Lip in the shade Pure Hollywood. Just going to place that mainly in the center, and then once we have that down, we're going to blend that out with a brush. Once the lips are done, you want to lock everything in place with some setting spray, and that pretty much completes this look. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was such fun creating this look. I loved playing with color, and I want to keep playing with color. So if you want to see more videos like this, then hit that subscribe button. Give this video a thumbs up if you loved how this look turned out. And thank you guys so much for watching. I love you, and I'll see you in my next video. Later!